All right. So, we are recreating the Philip experiment. And to explain that, here's Sam.
All right. So, what we are testing right now is our own psychic PK potential right now. Psychokinesis. We are trying to see if all of us together have enough psychic energy to cause things to move around. And the way we're doing that is we can't think, oh, I have this power, I'm causing this to move. Instead, what we're doing is putting all our collective conscious effort into a single mimetic entity, who we're calling Mary and Margaret. We've created this character, given her a backstory, when she was born, when she died, who her family was, how happy was she, what did she look like. Everything's been created by us, but we are all believing and focusing on the fact this was a real person who existed when we say she did. And we're trying to make her, wherever she may be, the one that is moving things around instead of us.
All right, so with that, let's introduce ourselves. We could start with you since you're over here. We'll go this way.
There we go. Hi, my name's Sam, and I'll tell you my experience with the paranormal. One time, I broke into a house of a man who had recently died 3 days earlier, and I took a Ouija board, I snuck in through the basement window, climbed up all the way into the bedroom where he died at, and I sat down with a Ouija board, 7 candles, and 2 good friends of mine. And we used the Ouija board. That was the first time I ever did it. After that, I came to Ohio University. About 2 years later, some other weird stuff happened in between. I broke into the Ridges one time. I scared all my friends by throwing a bouncy ball down the hallway after I hid in one of the tiny little rooms. It was a great time. I lived in the supposedly haunted Bryan Hall sophomore year, where there was a ghost named Trip who lived in the bell tower. And I one time woke up with every single one of my pillows covering me in the shape of a cross. Not sure how that happened, but maybe it was Trip. So I've had some interesting things happen to me that might only be explained by the paranormal, or maybe sometimes things are just goofy and I happen to be at the epicenter of it. So there's my stuff.
Hey, I'm Taylor. I have a much less interesting...
Hold it far away.
Hey, I'm Taylor. I have a much less interesting story. I've always been a big believer in the paranormal, but I have sadly had nothing happen to me. I've heard stories through, close family and friends, but nothing really in particular has happened with me, except supposedly our college campus house is haunted because our cat likes to play with imaginary things. And it'll rub against things that aren't there, as though it's getting pet in, the middle of the living room. And it will play with imaginary toys for hours on end, but that also just might be a kitten thing.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I have 0 experience with the paranormal so far, so I'm looking forward to this and, hoping, maybe.
My name is Alyssa. I haven't had many paranormal things happen to me, per se, but, the biggest thing that kind of kickstarted my interest in the paranormal was when I was a junior in high school. My best friend's sister, there was this phase where they thought she was possessed, and there was a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on. And then, so I did a bunch of research and blah, blah, blah. And then also last semester, I played Ouija board for the first time up at the, one of the graveyards at the Ridges. And we talked to a 61-year-old schizophrenia patient who was at the asylum when it was still in business or whatever. And his name was JP. He's really nice. So that was just very interesting for my first time using the Ouija board. I just didn't think it was going to work. But other than that, I'm actually probably living in Bryan Hall next year, so let's hope I don't wake up with any pillows covering me.
Hey, just don't talk bad about Trip. There was one guy who was talking bad about him, and then cockroaches started infesting his room.
I love you, Trip.
He was like, Trip isn't real, you're all trying to scare each other. Cockroaches.
Maybe I'll try to talk to him. Ouija board.
Hi, on that lovely note. I'm Max. I have personally had no paranormal activity or experiences. I'm always open to it. I always have been. I've tried Ouija boards, nothing's happened. I've done tarot cards and gypsy witch readings, and nothing has happened. So this should be fun.
All right, so what are we all hoping to get from this? I suppose, what kind of results are you guys looking for?
Any.
I want to move things with my mind.
I'm hoping that we're going to be able to conjure some type of spirit. And if we do, I would love to know if it's
not
actually...
spirit. It's a mimetic effect.
Okay, you're right. I would love to conjure some type of Mimetic effect?
Mimetic.
Mimetic effect.
That's where we get the word meme.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no, mimetic.
I love it.
There we
Okay. I want this to work even more.
And whatever ends up happening, with my knowledge of Ouija boards, I've heard that they conjure spirits, not just the effects.
Mhm.
And will it actually be us doing the work? Or will it be a spirit that just kind of let its way in and...
Even though we're not conjuring that
Yeah,
spirit
even though it's
specifically.
not, but it can...
It's putting on the mask that we created for it.
Oh yeah, I've watched Insidious 3.
I have it.
So yeah, I guess with that, like, is anybody afraid of what might happen? There we go.
I've only been told that Ouija boards are horrible, evil manifestation things, so I am terrified.
Again, this is to test something that comes from us, and so I'm not really afraid of that. If anything,
But-
I'm intrigued.
What
Yeah.
if a demon takes over?
Nose
Well-
goes.
I'll take it. Why not?
Well,
What's one
we're
more?
closing out the board,
scary
right?
thing
We're not
inside
just
my
gonna leave it
repertoire?
Okay, you
open.
gotta say goodbye at the end.
Okay.
I've done so much research on this stuff. I know how you properly use a Ouija board.
I mean, I can bring some salt if you're really afraid.
I just got over it. To be honest, I'm just more like the curiosity is way more, too intense to be scared. So, I'm excited.
Nope.
Let's get possessed.
I'm so
Let's not
kidding.
get possessed.
Kidding.
Let's move
We're
some
not
stuff with our
summoning-
minds.
Yes.
So, we have Mary Margaret McKinley, who married...
Okay, let's start. Her birthday.
Okay. So, well, so it's Mary Margaret McKinley until she got married, and her name then became Mary Margaret Fosfo. Her birthday was September 2nd of 1812, and she died or disappeared on September 1st of 1836. Her sudden disappearance was when you describe it.
Okay. Mary was married to a man that had a lot of land. That was why the marriage was put in place. He had plenty of... His name was Gregory Fosfo. Plenty of livestock, plenty of land. A good man until he, fell in love with the drink a little bit more than his wife. And he wasn't too physical with her, but he wasn't that nice with his words. Didn't really cherish her the way that he ought to. And one night she just had to get out of the house. A little too much for her, so she walked out, headed toward the bog, and the thing is, no one really saw her again. No one's sure what happened to her. Maybe she ran away from her husband, started a new life somewhere else. Maybe she fell into the bog and vanished. But there are some who say that weird things happen in that bog. There are some people who will do things like human sacrifice. And Lord willing, she didn't befall that fate. But that's the weird thing. No one knows. Maybe with any luck, Mary will tell us herself when we use the Ouija board.
So a couple other things with Mary was that she was married at 18. It was an arranged marriage out of money by her parents, whom she was very good with, very loyal to, but she always had hidden resentment that she never really brought forward towards her parents and her husband because she never felt like she had a choice, but she never spoke up about it. She's going to go off this.
She also she was born and lived in Killarney, Ireland. And from the livestock on the farm, she found a friend in a little goat who went by Selkie.
I like the way you said that. It makes the song get named itself. Oh, you can call me Selkie. Selkie.
So when she went for her walk, Selkie did go with her, but he came back alone. So that was what alerted the family to the fact that she was missing in the first place. Because she also had 2 children, correct?
Yes, she did have 2 children, Martha and Angus. Martha was
Agnes.
5... Agnes?
Yeah,
Agnes.
Beef.
Martha and Agnes. Martha was 5 years old and Agnes was 3 years old. And upon her disappearance, she had told her friend Sarah O'Doyle,
O'Doyle. There you go.
that she might have been pregnant. So there's suspicion that Mary never really wanted to be a mother, and that was part of her resentment. And maybe that's why she disappeared, because she had 2 daughters, and her husband wasn't very pleased but didn't have a son yet. She loved them. She didn't resent them out front, but she didn't really have the motherly tendencies.
I can relate.
And going off of her family and her friend, so sticking with Sarah, a lot of the information about her resentment kind of came through with Sarah. They met when they were about 7. They lost connection around when she was 20, around after she started having children, and they kind of retouched right before her disappearance.
And she was also born to a family of 6 total children, so she had 3 brothers and 2 sisters.
She was the oldest.
She was the oldest daughter, but she had an older brother. So Mallory and Finn were twins that both died at age 2, so that was upsetting for their family. She has an older brother named Saul, who's a minister, so he didn't get married. He was 26 at the time of her disappearance. She was 24. Meredith and Judith were her 2 younger sisters. Meredith was 14, so she never did get married yet. Close to it, though. And Judith was 17 and was married for love. She eloped, and her parents kind of exiled her from the family because of that, because it was very frowned upon. What else have we on?
I think we touched on. Oh, then know that her parents got her married. She got land. Husband was Leah.
So, how did she look? She had red hair, classic,
Brown
curly,
eyes.
with like pretty big brown eyes. She was fair-skinned with like light dusting of freckles, and rather plain because she did come from this family of farmers with very little land. What else? Anybody?
She was like, what did we say, 5'3"?
Yeah, about 5'3".
5'3".
Skin, like on the slender side because they obviously didn't have much food. Trying to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was most of it.
Kind,
We-
but
on the
quiet, a little
picture.
detached.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
her personality as
Kind
well,
of
yes.
timid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like obedient and loyal, but with the undercurrent. Of,
Almost like she had to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we can show the picture.
Yeah. So the picture,
Bam!
Yeah, let me just walk this up to the camera.
Well, we can just have it
Yeah,
appear
we
on
can
the screen.
edit it in.
So,
Editing. That is a thing.
Yeah, me
Edit
Put
it
it
here.
now. Put it right on
And
my
put it
face.
right here.
Whoa.
I'm holding it.
Just
We're framing
expand
it right now with our hands.
Oh my God! It got huge.
The cheese.
but yeah, so that's Mary, and we're hoping to get some communication.
Yes. So, see you on Friday.